We've hiked through all sorts of wilderness landscapes. We've taken you across the western U.S., from California to the Southwest, through the Deep South. Now, Adventure Archives embarks on another journey in this 2-part road trip special to a part of the country we've explored far too little, the Northeast. Join us as we explore seaside towns, pilgrimage to peaceful ponds, climb up mountains, canoe across lakes, and explore so much of what the Northeast has to offer. It was the first day of a big road trip adventure, and we were all enjoying some food before heading out.
We need to temper the nerves before we sit down for 7 hours.
Thomas then got busy organizing the trunk of the car for the trip ahead.
Room to spare and everything here.
And so the journey begins.
You guys comfy back there?
Actually, yeah, this is like nice and roomy, so yeah. Don't move that seat back though.
Now, we were off, headed to a region of the country that we were less familiar with, the American Northeast.
We drove late into the evening, and we still had a ways to go even as the sun set. Got a little over 5.5 hours left.
Got our breath saved now with these breath savers.
We continued on, taking in the changing scenery as we drove further east, making our way to Pennsylvania.
The sign at the border said to pursue your happiness, so we decided to pursue our own happiness using Thomas's virtual reality device.
Okay, so right now I'm in a ski lodge. Fireplace is over here. Beautiful vista. There's like a mountain over there. Here, hold on. If I reach out. There's Thomas.
We're stuck in traffic right now.
You guys are stuck in traffic and I'm soaring through Monument Valley.
Eventually, traffic let up and we cruised our way to New York. We were headed to Buffalo. We had some ambitious plans for our first night on the road.
As we got closer to the city lights, we discussed our plans for the night.
Okay, we're in Buffalo now. We've put in our wing order. Then we're gonna take those wings to Niagara Falls, eat some wings while looking at the falls, and then continue another very long drive.
We pulled into the city, where the wet streets reflected the amber glow of streetlights.
It was almost midnight, but we had called ahead and the bar graciously took our order and gave us a big box of buffalo wings.
So now we got our wings. We're gonna go to Niagara Falls.
Virginia Street for half a mile.
That's about it.
How mad would you be right now if I started eating some saucy wings in your new car? Just like,
Is there like some like fake falls that we can go to and just like green screen it on there? Because it's not worth the 30-minute drive right now in my book.
This whole trip is a green screen.
Even with less traffic at night, it was still quite a drive to Niagara Falls, especially considering we were all tired from the long drive.
But eventually, we arrived at Niagara Falls State Park. The whole park had a strange, desolate feeling at this time of night, but we could still see the water of the Niagara River flowing.
We now headed out on foot to explore around and look for a good overlook of the falls in the empty, rainy night.
Okay, so this is American Falls. Oh my God, what? Oh my God, man. Holy cow. Wow, man, this is not even the cool falls. The cool falls are over there.
I don't know, this is pretty cool to me.
This is pretty cool.
This feels like earlier when I had the VR thing on, like it doesn't feel like this is real. And actually in front of me. The water that pours over the edge of the falls comes from Lake Michigan and Lake Superior, flowing through Lake Huron, then Lake Erie, before emptying out into Lake Ontario. It's incredible to think that the water we were seeing now at one point flowed through the lakes we had camped by in Michigan.
Across the river, we could see the lights of the Canadian side of the Niagara Falls city, including Skylon Tower, the Niagara Skywheel, and some casinos.
And now that we were at the falls, it was time to eat our late night dinner.
All right, guys, here we are, Niagara Falls, right next to Buffalo, New York. So you know we got to do some actual buffalo wings. This is from Gabriel's Gate. It's supposed to be some of the best buffalo wings in the entire world.
Looks good.
Well, those do look really good.
Yeah.
Do you need help on it?
I got you, Thomas.
There you go. All right.
The buffalo sauce is actually milder than I expected it to be, but I like it that way. It's not overpoweringly salty or anything. Those crispy wings are good, man.
I haven't had that many buffalo wings, but if you told me these were the best in the world, I'd be like, okay. I mean, when you factor in where we're eating it, the experience, that's 10 out of 10, baby, right there.
Originally, the thought of coming to Niagara midnight in a thunderstorm and eating buffalo wings didn't sound too appealing, but now I'm here doing it. It's one of those moments where I'm just like, I can tell people, like, yeah, I did that.
You still got meat on these bones, Thomas.
Yeah, some of those aren't mine.
That's probably mine. You can demeat my bones.
Don't mind if I do them. These are good.
These are really good. I don't know how much of it's the hunger.
Right. And like the joy of actually being outside the car.
Yeah.
Temperature is actually perfect right now, too.
Yeah.
I've actually only had drumsticks so far.
That's why I can't find any drumsticks.
I'm eating all of them. Okay. After eating, we took some more time to enjoy the sight of the falls lit up at night. Then we headed back to the car.
And on the way back, we had several encounters with the local wildlife.
All right, so Bryan just went to use the bathroom and...
I didn't even use it. I was like walking up to the bathroom, like kind of jogging, and then something moved in the bushes. I'm like, oh shit, there's a skunk there. And I was like lucky it didn't get startled. Like it kind of moved away from me, and then looked at me, and I was just like backed off.
This is like a video game where there's just like random skunks wandering around that you have to avoid.
It's like, come to Niagara Falls, and there's just skunks everywhere. It's like, what the heck?
Rain's picked up. Thunder's picking up.
Of course it did.
Alright. Time to go. So far, this is a pretty typical Adventure Archives episode. Amazing views, unnecessarily messy food, and rain.
Before heading out, we wanted to see if we could see the falls from a different overlook. But the road leading there was closed, and we were already tired, cold, and wet.
We'd either have to walk or we have to skip it. And I think we're gonna skip it.
It's also 1 a.m. in the morning, so yep.
Onward to Hotel Archives.
We continued driving through the night, stopping at a travel area for gas and energy drinks. We still had a 2-hour drive from Niagara Falls before we could stop for the night.
We were headed to Seneca, New York. It wasn't until 3:30 in the morning that we finally arrived at the hotel, grabbed our bags, and headed inside.
Someone had apparently been having a good time at this hotel. But as for us, we were ready to collapse in our beds. After a long night, it was finally time to sleep.
Long drive.
Did you sleep at all?
No, because I had to play 20 questions with Thomas, so neither of us would crash the car.
The next day, we woke up around 9:30, and Thomas needed some nourishment after last night's drive.
See if we missed the hotel breakfast this morning, because I need some coffee and maybe a waffle or two.
Don't they usually serve coffee even after breakfast?
I'll smack that phone at you. How'd you sleep?
Pretty hard.
We headed down to the lobby to see if there was any breakfast left.
Unfortunately, though, everything had already been put away.
When Thomas was out here earlier, there was cereal. It's all gone now. I'm really sad.
Robby's search for hotel cereal continues.
In the meantime, Thomas packed up the car and we got ready for the day.
Why don't you just use the hairdryer? Look at my lusciously long, dry locks.
With the car packed, it was time to head out.
All right, everyone good?
Yep.
Doors shut?
But something smelled off in the car.
Smell it again.
Is it me? This is too early in the trip to have mysterious smells.
Yeah.
We headed out, trying not to let the strange smells upset us too much.
It's day 2. Temper's already flaring.
All right, so I think today we're going to try and make it to Bangor, Maine. Definitely going to make a stop in Portland, Maine, though, to try and find some good seafood. But yeah, it's another full day of driving. But we should at least get in at a reasonable time tonight.
And is lobster on the menu today?
If Andrew's buying.
Bye.
Once we reached Oneida, we stopped at a rest stop to stretch out our legs and buy some much-needed coffee.
With our coffee, we continued on through rolling green hills that seemed somehow especially New England.
Heading further east through New York, we saw some trains chugging along in the distance. We stopped at another rest stop, passed through an impressive steel bridge, and found our way to Massachusetts.
We had driven about 3 hours so far, and Bryan had already fully conked out.
All is right in the car right now. I'm messing around with my phone, Brian's sleeping, Thomas is eating dry pretzels, and you're filming.
Once in Massachusetts, we stopped at another travel area to fuel up.
Apparently, Robby has never had Auntie Aunt's pretzels. And I told him that you can get cheese with it, and now he's going back in to get some cheese. That's a man on a mission.
How are those snacks?
Oh man, I got the cheese sauce, the pretzels.
But look at what Thomas has. He chose the healthy option.
What are you eating? Oh,
Here we got some cheese, we got some cucumbers, strawberries.
Take a cheese.
you've got a whole salad in the makings here.
Yeah, seriously.
It's very dad on a family vacation. It's like single dad and his 3 kids.
After fueling up, we passed through Worcester, Massachusetts.
In an effort to entertain ourselves, we decided to do a quick live stream from our car. Now on all questions for Thomas will be redirected towards me.
Now, we found ourselves in Concord at Walden Pond. This was the titular location of Thoreau's famous book Walden, a huge influence on our show.
As many times as we've referenced Walden Pond, we had to make a stop.
Oh yeah.
Let's go.
No,
It's time for enlightenment.
Near the parking lot, there was a replica of Thoreau's small and simplistic cabin, where he spent a year writing and pondering nature.
This is actually a little surreal because I read Walden like at the end of high school and beginning of college. And it's like kind of wild to see the actual cabin in person.
Yeah.
So this is the corner you would sit in and play with your VR when you get bored of.
You should write some narration right here.
Yeah. And then we ate lobster.
In Wilderness is the preservation of the world.
Yeah.
It's the first opening line to an Adventure Archives episode.
Oh man.
Yeah, Thoreau quote. This bed is made of straw.
Walden played a huge role in shaping my outlook on life and my appreciation of nature. Thoreau's emphasis on simplicity and on living in nature without the distractions or the desperation of modern society play a huge role in Adventure Archives to this day, even if our goofier moments seem to suggest otherwise. Now, we made our way onto the trail that encircled Walden Pond. Near the trailhead was a peaceful beach that many people were enjoying.
And the pond was surrounded by woods that seemed just as serene as Thoreau had described them.
This does seem like an incredibly peaceful pond. I can see why he chose this place.
Yeah, it is interesting because this quietness and the calmness of the water is like exactly what you kind of envision when you read Walden. Obviously, it's more developed and there's more people here. It still feels kind of secluded and hidden away.
it seemed fitting that we would find a beautiful edible mushroom growing near the trail.
Oh, whoa. You see that? It's gigantic.
Beautiful chicken of the woods out there. Wonder what Thoreau would have done.
After admiring the mushroom, we continued on.
Eventually, the trail led to the original site of Thoreau's cabin.
We looked around. There was a pile of rocks and cairns set up in tribute to Thoreau, and the location of his cabin was marked with granite stones.
So this is where he kept his chimney, and over here is where he had a shed to store firewood. And I know somewhere around here he grew beans, but I'm not exactly sure where.
It was really incredible to be at the very site where Thoreau had explored around, observed nature, and written his masterpiece in solitude.
So the first line in Adventure Archives is actually a quote from Thoreau.
It's in the very beginning teaser of our first episode, and it's "In wildness is the preservation of the world." And I think that was kind of like the overarching idea of Adventure Archives, especially when we first started, is like there's value in going to these wild places and learning from them and taking what you learned back to your everyday life.
He is kind of one of the founders of the transcendental movement. And it's so easy to understand how he was able to kind of get into that mindset and that way of thinking when he's here on such a peaceful pond.
When we were walking down the trail looking at the pond, I was just like, you just get this sense of relaxation, and it's like coming from the chaos of driving on the roads and the cars and coming out to here, you really can feel the contrast of the chaos versus the calm that he must have felt being out here.
I actually had a weird experience with Thoreau that when I was in first grade, my teacher's husband came into class and was teaching us about Thoreau and basically saying that Thoreau's main tenet was to simplify. And I remember thinking at the time, I was like, man, I don't want to get rid of all of my stuff. Like, I love my stuff. But as I've gotten older, I've seen the wisdom in that more and more.
I remember reading Walden through the end of high school and beginning of college, and it was a really pivotal moment for me because, like, growing up, you're told, like, acquiring things is the pinnacle of life. And I remember as a kid, I was sitting in my yard and thinking, like, if mansions and having stuff is like the key to happiness, then shouldn't we just like give everyone a mansion? But it really opened my eyes to the idea that like having less is actually more, and it really frees you to do more things. And one of my favorite quotes, he says, "He was a lucky fox who lost its tail in the trap." The kind of radical idea that evokes, where it's like you can even give up a piece of your own body to like be free and to be unencumbered. But one other thing I really admired about Thoreau is he wasn't just about like nature writing and living in the woods, but he was also about learning from that experience and applying it to life. He famously wrote to defend John Brown, who fought to free slaves. He wrote an essay called Civil Disobedience, which went on to inspire Martin Luther King, because he refused to pay taxes to fund a war, basically. So it's that stuff that also makes me admire him, like, even more than a lot of other nature writers.
What a great way to start a trip in New England.
This is amazing.
This is the pilgrimage we must pay.
Yeah, this is great.
Leaving my own mark at Thoreau's cabin, I joined the others to take in the view of the pond and to imagine what Thoreau felt while sitting on the same shore. There was a sense of quiet tranquility, even with others around, enjoying the pond in their own unique way. Being here was a good reminder to listen to the lessons of nature. Most people can't live a life of pure wilderness. Even Thoreau didn't do that. But by being in nature, one can live deliberately. To live without searching for happiness in commodities or materialistic luxuries, but to see that true human happiness comes from the simple things.
当你眼睛看到的时候，传入脑子，再用手去捏，就已经太晚。
It's always good to remember these lessons that the wilderness teaches us, even if we don't always perfectly adhere to them.
Yeah, see, this is called Instagram. This is where we post all our pictures these days, you know? Yeah, this is Adventure Archives on YouTube. And then on this app, you just swipe right or left, depending on, you know, whether or not you like them.
We now left Concord and continued driving north. After driving for miles, we passed through New Hampshire. Not long after, we passed over the Piscataqua River into Maine.
It had already been an hour since leaving Walden, and we were feeling antsy.
How's everyone feeling?
I'm ready for death.
Food in 15 minutes.
As we drove further into Maine, dusk began to set in. Around us, we saw more and more water and boats. Before long, we had arrived in Portland, Maine.
All around were neon signs advertising seafood and old brick buildings.
We turned onto a pier and parked the car.
When we stepped out of the car, we were greeted by the salty air of the ocean, the sight of several boats swaying in the water, and seagulls soaring overhead.
就已经太晚。我们咏春有年手，年手就是锻炼你的触觉和速度。
We made our way to the lobster restaurant, which was luckily still open. Inside, we saw some fresh lobsters. We got on the wait list, then went back outside to explore around.
Dude, I love the aesthetic and the smell and the feel of seaside towns like this. I mean, I haven't experienced it that much, but something about like the saltiness of the ocean and the, I don't know, pungence of the seafood is like so appealing to me.
It's also completely different from any environment that we grew up in. You know what I mean? Like, this is nothing like what we know normally.
As we wandered around, a back alley caught our attention, so we headed in that direction.
We admired the gritty, maritime scenery and wondered what it would take to live a life on the ocean.
Wow, look at the fish crates and stuff, yeah. Could you be a man of the sea?
I think I could, I don't know. There's something appealing about it.
No, I can't do that. Definitely couldn't. You can stick me on a mountain in a snowstorm and I'll be okay, but...
Yeah, you're a dreamer, Andrew. You could not be a man of the sea.
What makes you say
None of us are physically or mentally capable of that.
I could be a man of the coast. Whole area has this very characteristic New England look with the old brick and stuff. Do you think these are really old buildings, the way you might see in Boston?
Well, I know that there's an attorney's office over there that looks like it was built in 1860s, which is like right at the start of the Civil War. You know, I don't know my Maine history that well. I know one colonel from Maine who fought in the Civil War, but it was an industrious city. It's port land, literally port land.
Yeah.
Now, it was time to continue wandering.
Mixed in with modern buildings were historic ones, like this U.S. Customs House, which oversaw imports and exports.
And at each corner were more piers and alleyways with rustic buildings and neon signs.
We came across a small park area and saw a funny mural on a nearby building.
Right now,
Man, I could drink a beer right now just like that.
Now, we decided to walk out onto another pier before turning around to head back to the restaurant.
So we're waiting for a reservation to kick in, and I'm sure if we start heading back now, it'll be ready by the time we get back.
are you guys as hungry as I am right now?
I'm gonna eat a lobster roll, no doubt.
I have not eaten all day. Are you hungry, Thomas?
Yeah.
This is what you come to New England for seafood, man.
Oh, yeah.
That's seafood.
On our way back, we took a little detour through another alleyway. Alleys just have so much character. I mean, look at this, dude. This is like a Puzz 3D environment. Look.
We were back at the restaurant. While we waited for our table, we watched boats pulling into the port and seagulls flying above.
Everything that's going on right now just adds up to create the total experience, from like the sound of the water to even like that orangish light that's just casting on the nearby walls. It just creates the total feeling of being in a sea town.
After a few more minutes of taking in scenery, our table is ready. We were led out back onto a nice patio. We perused the drinks and food on the menu and enjoyed the luxury of the present moment.
Hi, neighbor. Have a Gansit.
Now we enjoyed our refreshments. Root beer for Bryan, a lager for Andrew,
Try this real beer. It's good root beer.
ocean water for Thomas,
Straight from the ocean.
and a ginger beer for myself.
I like L's more than IPAs. This is what I live for.
There are many things that I live for, but this is what I live for.
The food arrived next. Steamed mussels, lobster rolls, a whole lobster with clams on the side, and potato salad with coleslaw. With all of the food on the table, we eagerly dug in.
So crispy, the lobster, buttery. Excellent, so good.
Delicious. Thank you.
Andrew and Thomas got to work eating their lobster.
Giant piece.
A little challenging, but you know, you gotta earn what you eat.
You got some on your face, though.
That's for later.
As we ate, we asked our waiter how to properly eat the clams. First, you take the whole clam out, peel the skin off the siphon tip, dip it in clam broth to clean off any extra grit, then dip it in butter to enjoy.
Our waiter also explained how to break apart the rest of the lobster to enjoy the meat inside.
Okay.
See how the tails flip forward?
Yep.
You are going to uncurl it and snap it off.
We joke about Thomas eating lobster all the time, but it's clearly not true.
Juices are literally running down my finger here. There you go. Whoa.
And besides the tail, there are good bits of meat in the legs. And of course, there's the treasured lobster Tom Alley.
Do you want any of this?
No, all yours.
So creamy. It's like the liver of the sea. That's fine. You can have more of it.
Oh,
Have some of these.
is that a bite for the ages? One more bite.
There's plenty of good stuff in this head part, I feel like. I don't know what it is, but it tastes good and salty. Look at all this head meat. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's kind of sandy.
Unsubscribe.
None of this muscle juice goes to waste. You want any? Pretty sure this is how like Clamato juice was invented. There's just a drunken sailor with nothing better to do. Disgusting.
Dessert was something less nauseating. Hot blueberry pie a la mode. Delicious, man.
Now that we were full from our luxurious dinner, it was time to clean up and head out on the road once again.
Okay, so where are we headed now? Bangor?
Bangor, Maine.
Is that how you say it? Bangor? I don't know. As we drove, we entertained ourselves with a game of 20 questions. Is it fried?
Yes.
Does it contain meat?
No.
Could you get it at a state fair?
Yes. You asked earlier about vegetables.
Zucchini?
Fried corn or something? I don't know.
Yep.
Ah.
From Portland, it was a 2-hour drive to Bangor. We were planning to see the sunrise tomorrow morning at Acadia National Park, about an hour and a half drive away.
We were just getting to the hotel close to midnight. the sunrise was going to be at 6 in the morning. That means we'd have to get up around 4 in the morning to drive up and catch it, which would leave many of us very sleep deprived.
We got to our hotel room, ready to get some much needed sleep.
Well, it ain't the Ritz-Carlton.
Nice artwork. Kind of. Okay, so I think we've all decided we're gonna skip Cadillac. It's gonna be raining and overcast. We'd have to get up at 4 in the morning.
I would rather just go into Acadia well rested and excited than cold, miserable, with a good chance that we're not going to see anything.
Agreed.
I do agree.
Well, I'm going to bed. That's it.
It had been a full 2 days of road tripping, but tomorrow was our first time really hiking in nature.
We woke up a little past 8 in the morning, and Robby and I decided to head down to check out the hotel breakfast.
Okay, we're finally gonna have that cereal that I've been wanting since Manitou Island.
We grabbed some cereal, breakfast sandwiches, and drinks to take up to our hotel room.
How'd you sleep? I slept just about as normally as I normally would sleep in a bed. I like the pillows, actually. Firm yet supple.
After breakfast, we packed up and headed to the car.
We were off to Acadia National Park. We would start our time there with one of the more intense hikes, in case the weather got worse later in the day. Plus, we had a relaxing evening that we actually had to earn.
As we drove further north, more hills appeared on the horizon.
Along with the hills, we began seeing water from the bays along the coast.
We passed through Bar Harbor, the town on Mount Desert Island that leads to Acadia National Park.
Now that we were in the park, we picked up a map and headed to the trailhead of the Beehive Mountain.
So I haven't told the guys much about what this trail is going to be like, but Andrew and Robby's parents, I'm sorry. It's only a 1.6 mile hike.
We followed a path along the road, which crossed over into a wooded hillside. Here, Thomas reviewed the plan for our hike.
So the Beehive Trail, this is the Beehive Mountain right here. It's going to go very vertical, very fast for about a quarter of a mile. We're going to get to the top. And then we're going to swing back down the other side and then walk back to the parking lot. All in all, less than 2 miles, but the first quarter of a mile is going to be a lot.
It does feel really good to be moving. Feels like the steps up to some ancient monastery or something, the way the stones are placed.
Yeah.
While we were hiking, we could see flashes of color among the trees.
We continued along a rocky surface, which had a steep slope in some areas that required caution to hike along.
We got to a point in the trail where the climb up was about to become much more steep.
Nearly vertical route.
How are you guys going to do this with cameras?
I'm noticing a lot of plants that we often see in like Appalachian type regions, which makes sense, but there's some wintergreen with some berries growing down here. And then there's also what I've heard called Indian cucumber or like cucumber root growing over here. And that plant has these nice whorled leaves, so like the leaves grow all around the stem, and if you dig up the root and eat it, it's this nice little refreshing crunch.
I also saw a Canada Mayflower growing nearby.
So Thomas, you have not done this trail before, right?
No, I've never been to Acadia before, period.
Cool.
But I've heard about this trail. I think a lot of people have heard about this trail. So, love to get your guys' review on it.
From here, the trail was definitely much steeper, and we started to see amazing views of the rest of the park from our vantage point.
Far below us was a beach surrounded by rocky cliffs that had been beaten by ocean waves.
It's funny, as we were walking up, I heard a classic bell of a buoy out in the distance. You can probably hear it now, but it's so quintessential New England right now.
The trail now took us along the precarious edge of a rocky cliff as we hiked higher and higher up.
Oh, we're just getting started.
This is no joke. Steps had been cut out of the stone in some areas, but in others we had to carefully step across metal ladders or scramble up rocks. Yeah, I might need to hand this off.
Got it.
This is like a bouldering trail more than a hiking trail.
Oh, that's really cool.
Holy crap, that's cool.
There you go. Need to hand me something?
Ooh, that's scary.
Oh. Just gonna get low.
Well, this is a scary trail, man. We continued sliding along narrow ledges and climbing up metal rungs that had been rammed into the granite rock.
Scrambling up a mountain like this, especially while you're holding extra equipment, is an exercise that requires patience, and sometimes a bit of teamwork. It was definitely a rugged trail to climb up, and in areas where there were no man-made handholds, nature provided assistance in its own way. If trees were not giving enough, this one is so critical to this trail. You can tell so many people have glazed the bark over with their oils by grabbing it.
There's a bunch of sticks down here. Is this walking sticks?
Oh, wow.
People abandoning their walking sticks.
Well, this is just straight vertical, man.
Yep. Got it.
Along the trail, there were some interesting plants and fungi in the soil.
So, growing in this area, I'm seeing these bushes with really bright red berries called bearberry. It's edible, but I've heard if you eat too much, it can induce like nausea and vomiting. And then here are some blueberry bushes, but we're way past season for the blueberries. But I recognize them from seeing them on other trails. And then Thomas was asking about this. It looks like cauliflower just sticking out of the ground, but I think this is some sort of a young coral fungus that hasn't had time to like develop its full structure.
There's actually another one right there, a bigger one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that is beautiful.
It looks hard.
It is kind of hard. I can't tell if it's like an edible variety or not. I know some of those are edible, but it does look like something I would want to like cook and eat. Just stick in my mouth.
We continued up the trail and surveyed the land below us.
It's interesting, by that pond, you see a lot more of these trees that are turning colors already. And I'm wondering if that's just, there tends to be more maples and other hardwood trees growing there. It's nice to see the fall colors though, that's awesome.
We kept climbing higher and higher, and the trail seemed to only get more precarious.
And Thomas, to answer your earlier question, I think I am afraid of heights. Just always have your center of gravity leaning towards the wall. Yeah.
The view below us became more and more expansive. We knew we were nearing the top when we looked down and saw flocks of seagulls flying below us.
Even up here, there were persistent pine trees growing from the cracks in the rocks. Their sturdy roots reminded Andrew of our late grandfather. My grandpa on my dad's side was always obsessed with like the idea of a pine tree growing out of rock like this and just like the strength of the roots. And this, you can tell, is a very strong tree, especially in spite of everyone using it as a handhold on this scary path.
Pine roots, nature's handhold.
We climbed even higher, and the precariousness of the trail reminded us of some of our past hikes.
How does this compare to Angel's Landing so far?
I feel much more comfortable on this one than I did on Angel's Landing.
Really?
But this is much more vertical than Angel's Landing.
That last bit on Angel's Landing looked nerve-wracking.
Oh, I mean, it's a 1,000-foot drop rather than a couple hundred.
So when you fall down on this one, you'll break all your bones before you die.
Biggest problem with Angel's Landing is how crowded it was. There were so many people that it felt more precarious because you had to wait for other people to go by. But here, this is a lot more comfortable because there's plenty of room to rest and spread out like we are.
It looks like we're past most of the vertical climbing, at least like the extremely vertical climbing, so.
This part's kind of like Red River Gorge or something.
It's like Red River Gorge if you take away all the land and replace it with the ocean. Just keep going. I'm looking and seeing some rain over there, so I want to get off.
We were near the top now, but distant rain clouds had us concerned. We continued on, and eventually the granite rock flattened out as we reached the top of Beehive Mountain.
Luckily for us, our way back down would be much more relaxed. The Beehive was formed by a process called glacial plucking, which left it steep on one side, but gradual on the other.
But of course, before heading back down, we had to take some time to enjoy the scenery from the summit of the mountain.
As we gazed out, we were awestruck by the stunning scenery of the American Northeast.
Now, we decided to sit and rest a bit and enjoy a small lunch.
These are from Bruce. Last minute, he just sent us a big box of snacks. I got dark chocolate mint. Yeah, you can have that.
Unflavored for me.
So this is your first time in Acadia. But you've been to Maine before.
I have been. This is kind of more of a viral trail. It's just one of those that it's kind of accessible to a lot of people because it's only about a mile and a half long. But it's got a high reward because you feel like you've actually done a lot to get up here.
I do feel that dopamine and endorphins running through my brain. I feel like picnicking on a mountain like this is a very New England thing for some reason.
So Bruce wrote on the back of all of these his name so that we knew who sent it. But he also wrote on here, "Why did I agree to do this?" That's your line.
Oh.
We took in the ocean scenery one more time before hiking out. We had made it to the top, but there was still more to explore.
If it's not gonna rain, it certainly feels like rain. Woo! Yeah, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Granite can become slick in the rain, so we continued into an area full of distinct-looking trees.
So you're also asking about beaches earlier?
Yeah.
All around us.
These are beaches, not birch, not aspen.
Not birch, not aspen.
And not maple now.
Not maple. You noob. No, I'm just kidding.
Just slap me.
Both aspens and birch have this whitish bark, but you can see how the texture is much more peeling, you know?
On beach.
On birch.
You said this was beach.
Yeah. Oh, I said beach?
Yeah.
You noob.
Yeah, this is all birch. This is all birch trees. I was looking at it, I was like, this isn't beach. But I was like, Andrew's the expert.
Okay, so the bowl, that's where we're going, 0.2 miles.
Yep. We're gonna go this way. Let's go.
This section of the trail had more plants growing, including goldenrods and hardwood trees.
This is surreal because you see this pond out of nowhere, but it's like not at the ground level.
It's truly up in the mountains here.
It was fairly cool out, but because of the high humidity, it almost felt warm as we made our way down the mountain.
We approached the lake, enjoying the view of the placid water nestled among pine trees. Like Walden from the day before, this felt like its own special, secluded pocket of tranquility and transcendentalism.
rocky shores of the lake, dead logs lay near lush vegetation. The colors of autumn were sprinkled amid the evergreen trees. The pond seemed to swirl with both ends and beginnings, a dialectic of rest and renewal. Like our road trip so far, there was quiet, harmonious peace mixed in with vibrant extravagance.
So far, we had enjoyed the luxury of hotels and the decadence of delicious food.
But we had also made a pilgrimage to Thoreau's cabin in the woods and scrambled along granite boulders in Acadia.
Now, we headed further down the mountain to once again experience the comforts of modern life.
But not before taking this last look at the beautiful forest that surrounded us. Cordonarius mushrooms sprouted from the rich soil beneath. Beech trees grew tall and surrounded the easy, winding path below.
These stairs are very convenient.
Man, yeah.
I hope they have them on Katahdin.
No, right?
No.
As we dropped in elevation, Andrew saw even more trees growing nearby.
So along with the iconic paper birch trees, I think I'm seeing some yellow birch trees growing in this area. We also saw a lot of striped maple all around us. And there's also aspen trees that have actually grown bigger. And when they grow that big, they don't have this like iconic smooth bark of an aspen, but they actually become kind of rougher.
I like how they remind you every 1/10 of a mile that you're there. It's good to have that encouragement. You're doing great, buddy. Only 0.4 miles left.
In this section of the woods, we saw even more signs of autumn among the maple leaves.
We followed small, winding brooks and eventually found our way back to the trailhead. From here, we headed to the nearby beach to see the ocean from up close.
Doesn't it seem so much bigger and more imposing than it did from afar? Kind of huge, actually.
This is another one of those instances where it feels like you're in like a giant theater or something in a museum. It's so like weird to the brain to see this.
One thing that's funny to me, having been recently gone to Manitou, is the air. Noticeably, you're like, yep, that's like ocean, salty sea dog air.
It's kind of funny how smells trigger memories, and now I'm suddenly thrown back to all the times I've been to an ocean before. This is a little stinkier than usual, though.
It smells like how our beard smelled after we ate that lobster.
The ocean really did seem impossibly vast. We stared at the turbulent waves in awe of the impressive sight in front of us.
Every time I come to a beach that's an actual like beach on the ocean, I just have to stand in awe and admire not just the power and the beauty of the waves, but just like the landscapes that surround it. It's not just about the beach or the ocean, but it's really a picture as a whole. You just gotta take it all in.
We took a moment to really be present, to really look with intent at everything around us and appreciate the natural wonders for what they are.
Afterwards, we headed back towards the parking lot, where Andrew spotted some plants.
So growing in this parking lot area, there's actually a tree called ash, which used to be really common in Ohio, but a lot of them got wiped out by the emerald ash borer. It's just wild seeing these growing normally with no diseases. So here, there's some fruits of the roses growing. These are called rose hips. I don't know if these would be like the tastiest ones to eat, but you could actually eat these. And here is a really beautiful example of Trametes versicolor, also known as turkey tail fungus. Whenever I look at this, I think of like that Japanese woodblock painting of the waves. But you can actually take these and cut them off and make like a tea or a soup out of them.
We got in the car and headed to another site called Thunder Hole. Somewhere along this rocky shore was a crevice that makes a thundering noise when water crashes into it.
Growing nearby were more rose bushes with brilliantly pink flowers. And the flowers weren't the only thing colorful in this landscape.
Even though it's severely overcast, I'm surprised how colorful this all is. With the blue and the red and the orange.
You also have all this like green seaweed kind of clinging to the rocks down there. It's really cool. It is funny, these rocks, like you go to amusement parks that try to replicate these rocks, and looking back, they actually do a better job than I thought they did.
So I guess that's the Devil's Hole down there?
Yeah.
Acadia can be a quiet, calm place to visit, but not today. The windy, overcast weather and the loud crashing of the waves gave the landscape a perilous feeling.
But now, we were headed out of the blustery wind and towards warmth and a wealth of food. We made our way to the Jordan Pond house for an early dinner, and we found a great parking spot.
Look at this luck. Look at this luck, Thomas.
We just need everyone to suddenly fall ill who's in line ahead of us.
Well, good thing we're in a pandemic. Right, so growing here is just a full-on apple tree. These are really beautiful apples. There's some on the ground, and I'm just gonna take a little nibble. That is actually delicious.
About an hour wait for Andrew's lunch. Long line, but it's okay.
You wanna try some apples in the meantime? They taste really good. I don't know if they have extra seating further down, but I think if it weren't foggy, you could see the pond there. Because I just remember as a kid eating here outside and like seeing the pond. And we did a hike also to see the pond from like another overview or something, but yeah, it's a very nostalgic memory, although it's completely different weather today.
While we waited for our table, we decided to walk along the trail that encircles Jordan Pond.
We didn't have enough time to go all the way around, but already it was striking how calm this freshwater pond was compared to the powerful ocean.
Just off the trail was an old stone wall and concrete structure. After inspecting the area, we headed back to the trail, where Andrew found a variety of trees growing along the pond.
So this trail next to Jordan Pond has a lot of interesting trees, largely conifer trees, but there's also alder trees like this one right here. I've also been seeing fir trees like this one here, and spruce trees like this, eastern white pine, and some cypress trees that grow next to the water. They're usually water-loving plants.
Shrouded in fog, the pond had a celestial, otherworldly look to it.
We headed back to the house and saw more interesting plants along the way.
So there's also all these really vibrant red berries growing on these shrubs all along this pond. Apparently this is something called winterberry holly. Doesn't really look like the holly you think of with like Christmas, but it is in the same family or genus as that.
Back at the house, we lounged around a bit more as we waited for our table. While we waited, we bumped into a couple of our viewers.
So this is Haley and Alex.
Excited to see you. Say hi to our family or all of our people back in Ithaca.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yes.
Now, it was time to eat. We headed downstairs and made our way inside the restaurant. We were now being transported from a quiet world of natural beauty to a cornucopia of indulgent gluttony.
Years ago, Andrew and I had visited this place, which is best known for its fluffy popover bread, and so we started off our meal with some coffee and cream and hot tea.
It's tea.
Wanting to unwind, Thomas also got a blueberry cocktail.
Oh, it's great. Get a little jealous.
Now, it was time to try the popovers, accompanied by warm butter and fruit jam.
So when I was a kid, me and Bryan came here on a family vacation, and my parents were telling us about these popovers, and they're like, oh, they're so good. They're like cream puffs. And when we got these, I was so disappointed. I was like, this is just bread with jam. Like, what's cream puff about this? But now I see that it's like, it's a lot puffier than I remember. It's very good.
So when I was a kid, I just couldn't appreciate the airiness and the lightness of the popover, but I definitely see the appeal now.
I see why it's called a popover now, because it's like a muffin, but it pops over the edge. You see how it like, boop. I didn't realize that. I'm glad you did not describe it as sweet. Well, this is really good.
It's good. That's a piece of bread. This is 100 times better than I remember it being.
Bryan also had some cold blueberry soda.
All right, let's try it a little bit, just right out of the bottle. You want to try some?
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
I love that color too.
For the main course, Andrew had vegan risotto. I had the meatloaf sandwich. Bryan had crab cake and lobster bisque. And Thomas had shepherd's pie with clam chowder.
This is actually good.
Very good, yeah. Nice and buttery.
We weren't sure how this vegan risotto would be, but it turned out to be one of the best dishes.
Look at the size of this bison meatloaf.
That's pretty good, yeah.
That looks great.
It's like bison size.
You guys should take a bite of this.
Alright, got my crab cake here. I don't really know how to describe crab cake, but it has the taste that I remember.
Chowder's quite good. A little smaller than I hoped, but very buttery, very creamy. That's quite good.
I take it the risotto was actually the right choice.
I'm full after the risotto.
Shepherd's pie was not the right choice. It was way too little.
What are you eating there?
My good friend, let's call him Robert, gave me his meatloaf sandwich because he's a good friend.
I'm doing great. I've got just enough room for a popover sundae. Really nice in there.
Excalibur.
All right, I'll take the first bite here. Ready?
Yep.
Now that reminds me of a cream puff right there.
Oh, man, if we had just gotten this when we were kids, this literally would have been what we wanted.
This is just like digging like
I'm trying not to
50% of the ice cream out, but like losing his popover while he's doing it.
I feel like I don't know what Tom's doing.
I have the worst position.
You had it, and then you started going deeper and deeper.
I'm not getting any popover.
You know what? I'm just going. That is a cream puff right there. Yeah.
What's happening with Thomas?
I don't know. He had a piece of cream puff off, and then he started going. Look at the cavernous hole he made.
That was good, man.
My belly feels like a popover right now.
After a filling meal, we headed to the gift shop to browse around.
Well, everybody's gone. This place was so crowded earlier.
It
Well, I have made the transformation into a popover myself, so.
If anything, the popovers are redeemed in my memory.
Yeah. Red Dead Redemption.
Pop Top Redemption.
Man, I still remember when we went on road trips with our parents, they had the gigantic maps.
Oh yeah, dude.
Oh yeah, we would have to go AAA to like, they would highlight the whole path.
Yeah.
My dad still uses a TomTom GPS, and he has a Q-tip to use the touchscreen so that he doesn't get it dirty.
That's so your dad. It's unbelievable.
That is so funny.
The popovers had left us in a nostalgic mood, conjuring up family vacations we took as kids.
We were about to have a family vacation of our own. We were headed just north of Bar Harbor proper, to a rustic little cottage. This evening was one of luxury on top of luxury.
We pulled into the parking area in the early evening and hopped out of the car. Thomas went to the office to check us in while we milled about. I'm gonna sleep in this cottage like I'm a old pilgrim on the trail.
I feel good. I got a full belly, full of popover.
Thomas emerged and pointed us to our cabin. All right, let's go.
The Kramer entry right there.
Dude, this is nice. Whoa, this is sweet.
I think we should just cancel the rest of the trip, see if Joe...
Cottage archive, let's go.
Whoa, this is like a beach home.
Wow.
Literally.
This is better than my own house.
Is
Live, laugh, love, baby, right?
Does it say it?
No. I feel like I'm in a dollhouse or something.
Yeah.
Oh, the TV swells.
May your trails be crooked and winding, leading to the most amazing view. We may take that couch. We may sleep on that.
Who's we?
I may sleep on that. So this is a full mess. Like this is a full...
Don't you speak for me.
So this is a full queen size bed. Easily fit 2 people in here. This is a twin bed.
No, this is bigger than twin.
No, that's a twin.
It's at least the size of a jack.
Hey, I vote Andrew gets his own bed. He's the most annoying to sleep next to.
What? Maybe Robby should get his own room.
I'm fine with that too.
Well, if someone sleeps out here, then 2 people. Well, if Andrew sleeps out here, then someone else will get their own.
Why am I sleeping out here?
It's like we'll just take the stuff out here, and Andrew can sleep down here, just curled up underneath the sink.
Oh yeah.
They force you to like lean back.
Feeling relaxed yet, Thomas?
Getting there.
Decadence.
Make a joke about all we need is just like someone to feed us lobster, but not anymore.
I'm all lobstered out.
Actually, I could eat lobster rolls till the end of my day.
Although this civilized living isn't our usual MO, we really were filled with a sense of relaxation, similar to that found around the campfire in the woods. A big part of it was feeling fulfilled after our hiking, as well as the camaraderie of having each other's company. But the beautiful oceanside scenery definitely didn't hurt either.
We all rested and lounged around as dusk set in. Later, Andrew and I went to buy a few treats to enjoy the rest of the night.
So what do we get, Thomas?
We're getting some wine and cheese.
Sweet blueberry wine and some lagers. I think tonight we're gonna do some drunken virtual reality.
Back at the cottage, the night's shenanigans were just getting started.
I see why people with more money like to have summer homes.
This is what it's all about, though, isn't it?
Not doing any work. No hiking, just post-hike meals.
While we enjoyed the night air, we opened up the drinks we had acquired.
So we've got a Park Premium Lager, and this is brewed in South Portland in Maine.
This is Winterport Winery. This is a blueberry wine.
Oh, there's no bunghole in this bottle. I thought there was going to be one.
That's actually what it's called, right?
Bunghole is the hole in like a barrel.
Oh, right.
Bunghole.
About to get goofy up in here.
Cheers.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Ding, 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 ding. Not bad, not bad.
Oh, that's good beer. This is like Maine cheddar, apparently. Enjoyment of things, it's not just about the base enjoyment of it, but it's also the things you associate it with it. Even with backpacking, it's like there's part of it where you're pretending to be some pioneer or whatever. Backpacking will make you realize how something like this is actually luxury. Like just having a dry thing to sit on and drinks.
You know what that is? It's creating your own happiness. When you put yourself in a situation where simple things become super fun and enjoyable, you're literally doing something to create that.
For some people, going to a place and having wine served to you with cheese on a platter is something they would enjoy. But for us, it's going out and getting our own wine, getting our own cheese after a hike, sitting in the chairs with like this kind of freedom.
You know what moment is speaking to me? It's a great example of what Brian's talking about. So we got off that water-soaked mountain in Big Sur, and we got some beers, pulled out some charcuterie. We're sitting there on that green spot looking out in the Pacific Ocean. It was like the sunniest day in the whole world.
It's funny how full circle we've come, from the Pacific to the Atlantic.
Oh yeah, this is a long time coming. Cheers to
Cheers
that.
to that.
It's raining. Barely, but I can definitely feel it.
Welcome to Beer Venture Barcade.
Bar Venture Beer Kind.
For being a close-knit group of friends, allegedly, we don't actually do things like this that often.
No.
Sure. Like the drinking aspect, at least. We do sit and talk a lot.
I'm looking forward to feeling good about myself again. All right, so let me be honest. So let me tell you what I mean by that. It's like, what's so funny about that? I look forward to feeling self-validated again when I go up Mount Katahdin.
Oh, yeah.
Because Mount Katahdin, in my mind at least, has been the hardest hike of my life. I'm kind of nervous about this because it's going to be a tough hike. But if I can do this, I'm going to feel so good about myself.
Me and Brian won't feel good about ourselves at all. We're just going to canoe peacefully on a lake.
No,
Sounds
for
great
me,
to me.
this whole trip is the feel-good moment because
Yeah.
I've been feeling a little burnout at work, and I was like, man, I need some time off. And then I've been doing that diet, and now I'm just like, I'm eating popover Sundays and lobster rolls. It's just like this whole trip is just like.
Brian's already earned the reward.
Can we just talk, Brian? You look great.
Looking good, Brian.
You look great too, buddy.
Brian, you look like Luke Kang, man.
If I take my hair and I do this, the low ponytail,
Oh, dude.
I look like Stephen Chow. Got Stephen Chow here. Here's
Dude, we should cosplay as Liu Kang and Kung Lao. That'd be awesome.
Well, here's to the rest of the trip.
Set some things up for you guys.
Business Thomas, back in action.
Thomas is like, let me choose now to organize the room.
I'm not that drunk. I'm not gonna fling your controllers all over the place.
No, but I do, and I'm not even drunk when I do.
That's because you're dope.
I know.
It's like I'm in a battle, baby.
Oh, now I.
After a goofy, fun-filled night, it was finally time for us to head to bed.
How did you like your eye thing?
It was a calm morning the next day. We didn't have much planned today besides driving, so we took some time getting packed up.
How'd you guys sleep after getting woken up by Thomas's alarm at 6 in the morning for the third day in a row?
I woke up partly to the alarm, but partly to Robby yelling at Thomas.
Yeah, I did wake up to noises, and I checked the time. I was like, okay, nobody's meant to be up at this time.
The funniest part is yesterday, I was like, let me try a different tack. I always yell at Thomas. Let me politely ask him to turn off his alarms. And he didn't do it. Why? This morning I was just so sad. I was like, why did you do this to me again?
Why, Lisa? Why? The funniest thing, Robby asked Thomas to turn the alarms off again, and Thomas goes, 16 alarms, shut off.
Today, we were headed further north into Maine, towards Baxter State Park.
While we drove out, we passed by many beautiful blue lakes surrounded by green hills.
On the way to Baxter, we again stopped in Bangor. We were planning on grabbing some breakfast and coffee.
We had stayed here a couple nights ago, but seeing the downtown area during the day was still a new and exciting experience for us.
We wandered around, deciding what to do for breakfast.
Umami noodle bar. Sounds kind of... Thomas was saying we should just go wherever we sounds good, so I'm gonna head 10 blocks that way.
Bagel Central. Or is it Center? Central.
I'm gonna get myself a cream horn.
The horn of plenty.
We decided to get our food to go and eat it outside at a park.
You do look like a yogi. Oh, hey, not bad.
I'm gonna start a cult. Feels like this is older foundation and stuff. And I wonder if it's just because it is like built on an old New England town. Or maybe I just don't know what I'm talking about.
We found a sunny spot to enjoy our food, so it was time to dig in.
Onion bagel with cream cheese.
That looks really good.
Wow, this actually has bits of real onion in it. Like big chunks of onion.
This is the Katahdin in anticipation for the hike
That
tomorrow.
is a lot of meat.
Yes, it is. But quite good.
All right.
What'd you get, Bryan? That looks amazing.
I just got the bagel witch.
About 3 types of cheese. Starting to get a little jealous.
While we ate our bagels and potato salad, we looked around the park.
We got mushrooms here, Andrew.
I think it's something in the Satharella genus. This little common lawn mushroom.
Nearby, there was also a planted garden with some herbs.
Like, I know these are in the mint family. They have kind of like a square stem and the leaves grow oppositely. Oh, this is,
This bush was a barberry bush, a common ornamental plant.
well, it's not native from Europe. It's grown throughout, like, forests sometimes. It's not super invasive, but it did at one point cause a problem because it carried a disease that almost wiped out, like, grain in the Great Plains. I think this is a woolly lamb's ear or something related to that. This looks to me like a black locust sapling, which is a tree in the pea family. Anyway, I'm gonna go do my yoga now.
After all the fancy food we'd been eating, Andrew and I needed to get out some of our energy at the park.
After breakfast, we explored around a bit more before heading back to the car and driving out. Next, we stopped at a grocery store to stock up on food for the next few nights.
After getting what we needed, Thomas diligently organized the cooler with all of the perishable groceries.
We were off once again. We still had another 2.5 hours of driving left today, and the boredom was again setting in.
How did you know?
I opened my eyes and saw you doing it to Thomas, and then I closed them and he just started giggling again. And I was like, it's probably me now.
So when I did this drive a couple years ago, I couldn't help but think that this is the most wild place I've probably ever been. It takes 3 hours driving through a forest with almost no exits just to get to this park. I mean, nobody lives around here. There's no exits.
In the Midwest, I'm used to just having like cornfields be the stretches of nothing that you drive through, but this is really nice. No billboards either, actually.
It is pretty astounding how different and pleasant a drive through the country can feel when it's all wild land, untainted by billboards and other advertisements along the road.
Along our drive, we stopped at a rest stop and got out to stretch our legs. In the grass, a swarm of winged ants scurried about. These ants usually fly out with the goal of becoming a new queen in an ant colony. However, sometimes only 1 in a million will succeed at this goal. We also saw some bolete mushrooms.
What'd you find?
Some sort of a bolete.
Edible?
I wouldn't risk it.
You don't want to eat some gas station bolete?
We continued driving north, heading towards Maine's tallest mountain, Mount Katahdin, in Baxter State Park.
Surrounded by lakes, trees, and mountaintops, we were enraptured by our beautiful environment. Who knew the Northeast had landscapes to rival the West?
This almost feels farther from home than going to another country.
This is truly the corner of the U.S. right here.
The U.S. in general feels like multiple different countries in one country.
It's like one of the few countries in this actually.
As we got closer to Baxter, we saw a big painted rock, and I got out to look at Katahdin in the distance.
Yeah, I guess the more I look at that mountain, the more I see why you're nervous about it.
That is no joke, man.
Now, we entered Baxter State Park, and the sunny weather had our spirits high.
We stopped at the Nature Center to grab some maps and talk about our plans for the next 2 days.
So you guys are going to start here. I'm not sure which trail you're taking, but you're going up to Baxter.
Yep, Baxter Peak.
Baxter Peak. Coming down here.
And today we're staying up here?
Yep. I was thinking we could do some hikes down in this area, but also canoe in some of these smaller ponds. Tomorrow me and Bryan are going to hike into this lake and then canoe all around it.
Inside, Thomas talked with the ranger about the hike up to Katahdin.
This was such a bear when I did this.
No, it's probably my least favorite way up the mountain. Even less favorite way down.
Yep, there you go.
And a relief map really hit home how much uphill Thomas and I would be hiking tomorrow.
So how are we feeling about everything?
Yeah, great.
I mean, I have nothing to worry about.
So you were nervous before we got in here, and I wasn't. And I think the situation has reversed. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm kind of nervous. But you're not feeling that nervous?
No, because we're going up the other side. And I think the other side is going to be a little bit easier than the side that I went up. Because it was just brutal when I did it.
Don't mind us, we're just planning our leisurely boat ride tomorrow.
On our way to the campsite, we passed by the trail that Robby and Thomas would be hiking out of the next day.
So this is where we're exiting tomorrow, right?
Right.
Yeah. And this is where you went up.
Yes. So the Appalachian Trail was just over that way.
Do they hike back down the AT? Because I feel like
They're essentially doing the reverse of what we're doing, where they come up the AT and then they go back down Knife's Edge. And usually there's like people waiting for them. A lot of times they'll have like family there.
Oh, right.
We continued driving. Before settling into camp, we turned towards Kidney Pond. We wanted to take some time this evening to take a relaxing canoe ride. We pulled in by the pond, and in the grass nearby, there were some puffballs, including what looked like something in the Calvadia genus, and some common puffballs.
We filled out our names on the canoe rental register and looked at some of the local wildlife.
Oh, hi, bunny. I'm sorry, I almost stepped on you. See the bunny around here? It's a big boy.
Now, we grabbed our paddles and life jackets and talked about our past canoe accident.
Andrew took the one wood one with a chip in it out of all of these perfectly nice plastic ones.
I like it.
The pilot in command is the one responsible.
It's like Bryan should have gone down with the ship.
Given all the factors that were going on, I think the fault was minimal there.
I'm excited. Ready.
We grabbed our canoe and put it on the water. But Bryan was still a bit traumatized from the Manistee River experience.
I'm like so paranoid about canoes right now. I'm just gonna sit down on the thing. I think I honestly do have like some like anxiety just because of that now.
Bryan, how are you feeling?
There's a little anxiety because this is like my first time canoeing since Manistee.
I don't blame you.
But the thing is, like, this situation is different because we're in a calm lake. We've got our waterproof bags.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like we're gonna lose anything if we flip over, but I just don't want to flip over.
No, I'm with you. And you're well rested. It's not like you spent the whole night in a thunderstorm sleeping cowboy style in the woods. So.
Man, no, those are animals. They're going over there. Yeah.
All right.
I think those might be loons.
Look how big those loons. Those loons are huge.
Yeah, I know.
Usually they're not that big.
I thought they were just duck-sized. Those things are like, damn it.
But keep some distance.
I am.
Yeah.
While Bryan and Thomas paddled around, we grabbed our own canoe to join them.
Oh, mama.
Okay.
Oh, mama.
We're good. I've done kung fu training.
Wow, this is a peaceful lake, man.
Oh man, I haven't done this in a while.
Let's hope you still remember how to do it.
Me too. It's like riding a bike, I think, maybe. Oh yeah. Oh man, canoeing. If I lived near water and owned a canoe, I think canoeing could become my major obsession in life. Every time it just feels like you're gliding through the air. Except it's the water.
The sun glistened off the blue water surface. In the distance, we saw Mount Katahdin peeking over the trees.
Anytime I hear loons calling at night, which I'm sure we'll hear some tonight or tomorrow night, I know that I'm in the north. It's like one of my favorite sounds.
And I see two goons.
Oh, we got a couple loons over here.
Oh, I see a couple of loons, all right.
Man, this is incredible.
It's like Algonquin, except
you have this huge mountain rising out of the horizon too. Like, it's so surreal.
Dude, those loons are way bigger than I expected them to be.
Yeah, those look huge.
Yeah.
We paddled around, happy to be fully immersed in nature yet again.
On a nearby pine tree, a belted kingfisher looked for food beneath the water surface.
Meanwhile, we looked up at the mountains surrounding us. After being on the road for so long, the calm pace of canoeing was a refreshing and welcome change.
Okay, so which mountains are we hiking tomorrow?
So that big one up there, that big daddy, that's Katahdin.
Okay.
We're going to be starting on the other side of it, going up to the top and then coming down the longer way through this way.
And do you know what any of these other ones are?
I think one of these is Mount Ojai, but I've never actually seen that one. That one is just so prominent.
It's like a Mount Fuji.
You know, I haven't done a ton of canoeing, but I gotta say, this takes the cake as the best canoeing spot I've ever visited.
Yeah, just don't, as long as you don't flip over, it'll be great. Brian, I can see the...
over. I'll be honest, someone who's been humbled, I feel much more confident in, rather than someone who is...
Opposite of humbled, that's him, right?
For sure.
Really? That's funny because I feel the same way about drivers, Thomas.
After being on the road for so long, the calm pace of canoeing was a refreshing, welcome change.
I'll be honest, I keep forgetting how quiet and serene a lake is. It's like nothing else.
It's also really cool to see this first flush of fall colors coming in. Like, a lot of stuff is still green up here, but every so often you see these stretches of red and yellow and stuff.
There's just something about the utter stillness and silence that comes with canoeing that you really just don't get when you're hiking in the woods. Like, the minute you stop paddling and you just sit there and listen, it's like you can almost feel like the silence around you, and you just hear little sounds in the distance.
While we paddled around and took in our surroundings, we chatted about the time on the pond so far.
This is pretty peaceful.
This is very peaceful.
It's making me a little thirsty, and I was already a little hungry.
This water's probably pretty drinkable besides the Giardia.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling that hunger.
I have other gastro issues right now, but...
Andrew was going to town in the car on the snacks, so I think he's not very hungry.
I had a whole thing of shiitake jerky.
And like half a bag of those pretzels.
So me and Andrew's canoe has seat backs.
Ah.
I'm living life here. You guys got good posture, but...
I've got that alert mode going.
You lucky
no
ducks.
slouching for me.
It's like I learned nothing from falling over. I'm just like rocking the boat. I'm like, everything's all good, baby.
Whoa. Say something and hear an echo.
Whoa. That's how Yetis got started. People heard their own echo and they thought it was a Yeti in the distance. But
They're
it's
like,
just,
look, it's responding.
It's just the echo.
Wow.
I've never heard an echo quite like that.
Yeah, no, that's intense.
Whoop.
Hello.
You just hear a Yeti go, "Shut up." There's a rock right there. Did you see that?
Dang.
I already knew this, but every time I go into the water and I look into the water, it reaffirms that I'm not a water person.
Wow, look at this, dude.
It really was incredible to be canoeing on a pond like this, in perfect weather, surrounded by the distinct granite mountains of the Northeast.
Tomorrow, Thomas and I would be doing an intense hike up to Katahdin. But right now, even the calm canoeing was working up our appetite.
Dude, I'm going to eat like 2 steaks. I'm going to eat 1 steak. And we're cooking them properly this time. We're going to make that happen.
At some point, we were debating about who the best canoeer was. I thought the answer was obvious, but not everybody saw eye to eye with me.
You said that was like established fact.
No, only you established the fact that you think you're better than everybody else.
Oh, you're not wrong. Bryan's really good. But you're obviously you're good too. But like,
What are you using to quantify whether you're good or not, Andrew?
No, I mean, I've canoed the most, first of all. I haven't crashed a canoe. I've gone canoeing without you. I don't know. He's like, I'm the first one who heard about J-strokes, clearly. I thought it was just established fact that it makes sense for me to paddle and Robby to film in a boat.
I mean, no, it totally does. And I'll go ahead and...
Where's the argument?
No, the argument is how good you think you are.
I don't think I'm good. I just think I'm better than all of you.
I got no skin on this.
What's going on, Andrew? I've been paddling on the left side this whole time. I see you switching sides.
Look how straight Bryan's going. We've been going left and right and front and center.
Now Andrew's going to take it personally.
I'm very comfortable with my status as the worst canoeer in the group. You're not as comfortable as me, though. I'm the most comfortable in the group.
After debating who had the better J-stroke, we finally approached the docks. I'll let the worst canoeer dock first.
We pulled up to the dock, and even if we disagreed on who the best canoeer was, I at least got a pretty good review.
I was very satisfied with my Uber driver today. 5 stars.
Bryan, great job.
We hauled our canoes back on land and then headed to the car.
Sitting on a canoe chair apparently works muscles. They don't normally work.
Yeah, I think I gained some weight on that canoe trip. 0 calories burned.
After we put away the rest of our gear, we checked out a library and community area by the pond.
Beefy puzzles. Wow. Oh man, this is great.
Dude, I could also imagine being here in the winter would be awesome. Like, ski across the lake or snowshoe across the lake, come back to this wood fire stove.
Outside, there was also an informative poster about the mental health of loons.
Now, we drove further north. The gold glow of the evening sun shined through the trees as we reached our campsite, situated in a large grassy field.
Moly, where did we go? That's 4, 5, 6.
That's 8, so that must be 7 right there. I'm gonna back into this one.
Oh, yep, 7. Right. Yep.
With the car parked, we grabbed our gear, though Thomas was a bit upset that we left the trunk open.
You guys laughing at me. But you know it's true.
No, I don't. What's the big deal?
Because there's bugs.
We're not going to be in the car.
You're leaving the car door open so that when we do have to get around, there's going to be bugs everywhere. I see you guys laughing at me.
Better clean up the cabin first. Or do some archaeology.
After Robby's cleaning, we set up our sleeping gear.
Oh yeah. It's definitely going to be tight in here.
It's a pretty tight fit in the shelter, but don't worry. If we have a 5th person show up, they can just sleep in here. I might just sleep here anyway.
With evening setting in, Andrew and I hiked to grab some firewood. We stopped at the nearby ranger station, signed the register, went across the street for a bundle of firewood, then hiked back to camp.
Finally, after about 6 months of looking, I finally found the right type of butane. Now we're going to actually do some cooking on here. So I'm actually thinking, instead of doing the zucchini tonight, let's do the bell peppers. So we can have steaks and peppers. So I'm trying to cook with as little waste as possible here, because everything you bring in, you have to pack out. Well, we may leave it in the park, but just in other ways.
While Thomas prepared dinner, Bryan and I hiked out to where Andrew and Thomas had been to fill up on water.
Back at camp, I was getting started on the fire. Some of the wood was fibrous, flexible pine, so it was a bit fiddly to deal with. I feathered the wood down, then scraped up some birch bark for tinder.
In the meantime, it was time to get cooking. I melted down some butter in the pan, then sauteed the peppers in it.
While Thomas cooked, Bryan and I relaxed.
I will join you.
This is the way to do it. Good job there, Tom.
Thank you.
After tossing the peppers in hot butter, we added some steak seasoning for more flavor.
Ooh, that was much thicker than I thought it was going to be.
Night set in and the moon rose above us as Thomas kept cooking.
Now that it was getting dark, it was time to light up all the tinder and kindling I had prepared. With just a few sparks, the birch bark ignited quickly. The firewood was a bit damp, so I supplemented the feather sticks with some tiny, scrounged up twigs.
That's some grade A firewood right there.
Yeah, this is good. I did not want that softwood stuff.
Your fire starting skills are much better than your canoe skills.
I am the best canoeer. The wood's a little damp, but I think with enough maintenance, it'll get hot enough that it won't matter. That'd be good.
This wasn't frozen. I think the cooler accidentally froze it.
After cooking up the peppers, we sauteed some thinly sliced beef in the pan, and to that, we added more seasoning.
It was great to be out camping again, and you could almost feel our excitement buzzing throughout the campsite.
Here you go. Can you turn the heat down a little bit, Tom? Yeah.
It was an absolutely beautiful night. Though all of the talk earlier of who was better at canoeing brought out a competitive streak in us when Thomas cracked some eggs on the edge of the pan for dinner.
Don't do it on a...
Let
him do it. Let him do it.
Don't crack it on the edge.
Let him do what he wants. Okay.
What?
Tend to your fires, fire boy.
With one egg fried, I let the others fry their own eggs, each with their own egg-cracking techniques.
Oh, we should have buttered that first.
You know how clean it cracks when you do it on plaster? I'll see myself out. Somebody give me a paper. Cracking it with one egg is a useless skill for a regular person.
That's some good cracking there, Lou.
Damn it, almost. Good enough.
Amateur.
At least got some good air.
Amateur.
With our eggs fried up, it was time to enjoy a hearty meal. A pile of steak meat, fried eggs, and sauteed peppers.
Bon appetit. Kind of just dig in here. I do have some spatulas, so I'm going to start.
Well done. These smell great.
This is the benefit of car camping. Can't do this at a backpack.
Oh, that yolk is worth it.
That was pretty good.
It was great, yeah.
What was the inspiration behind this? This is an interesting assortment of foods.
Think of it like a deconstructed Philly cheesesteak sandwich without the cheese and an egg.
Actually, this reminds me of some sort of like a steak and eggs breakfast.
I haven't had any eggs yet.
The meat and the peppers together. Great.
We are tearing through this.
That looked like a lot of food.
Yeah.
And it is gone, and I don't even feel like a little bit full.
That was crazy how voraciously and quickly 4 dudes can eliminate food that took like an hour to prepare.
I feel bad for all the moms and dads out there who spend hours cooking for it to be a 10-minute ordeal for the whole day. I think I need a seltzer.
Oh, there was drinks all this time?
Bust them out, baby.
They weren't refrigerated.
Oh, look at these cute little cans.
Sink it.
Tastes like Capri Sun.
Yeah.
Capri Sun.
How you feeling about this hike tomorrow?
Once we get everything cleaned up and I'm in my bed, all we got to do is just make sure we wake up early enough.
You guys feeling any trepidation at all?
No, you see, I'm not concerned about the going up. It's the going down that's going to be tough. That's what you did for me last time. I was just like, but I also did that one solo. And if I have someone else here, this time it might be a lot easier.
How you feeling about this canoe ride tomorrow?
I'm feeling good for you guys.
Nice easy hike to a canoe ride. Me and Bryan are gonna each get our own canoe, put our sleeping bag in it, and just lie in it. It is nice being back in our real element.
Yeah.
Camping outdoors.
If this is my last dinner, not a bad way to go out. You know what I'm saying? Cheers to that.
Knock on wood, though.
What a perfect way to kind of ring in the end of summer and bring in the beginning of fall here.
Yeah, all of New England to me has felt like that cusp between summer and fall. We've got like the cool, brisk weather, but still some of the sights and sounds of summer.
All in all, this has been a pretty good summer, especially compared to last year.
Yeah.
It's funny, this trip feels like it's both beginning and winding down at the same time. You know, this is our first night really camping out, but we've already done so much too.
This is also our first fire of the summer.
I've missed you, old friend. Burning my eyes with your wonderful smoke.
And you know, it's perfect weather for a fire too. It's
Yeah.
Yeah. Not too cold, not too hot.
This is probably neat, perfect sleeping weather too. When we get up at 4:40 in the morning, it's gonna suck.
So who set an alarm?
I think you got it covered. You've clearly shown a lot of aptitude for it.
So what's been everyone's favorite part of the trip so far?
Niagara Falls for me. I was not expecting it to be that massive.
I think the highlight for me up to now was actually when we did have the lobster and the lobster rolls, because that's when it felt like we were actually in New England. You know, we're eating lobster, we're sitting on like a dock or whatever, you know, next to the water, and
all those boats.
Yeah. And we had been like kind of cooped up in that car for 2 days.
I think my favorite was actually yesterday, because like we did a cool hike, but then back at the cottage we got to drink some beer and have a little bit of fun. It's always fun to just like let loose.
Yeah.
With 4 of your best acquaintances.
I mean, is it cheating to say tonight is my favorite so far?
No.
Tonight's my favorite so far.
You're very poetic.
I think tomorrow is going to be the best and the worst.
Whose is gonna be? Who's gonna be the best? Who's gonna be the worst?
It's funny. I don't envy you guys, but I also do. Like, I know that you guys are gonna have an amazing experience, especially when you're like done and back at that campsite. Meanwhile, me and Bryan will have been eating lobster, feeding each other grapes. Like, oh man, stars coming out too. This is great.
Well, we're gonna see some great stars tonight.
All right. Yep.
I'm gonna go
mad sleep early today, boy.
Got a
get some things ready.
Big day tomorrow.
It had been a long road trip so far. We had seen so many things and enjoyed the luxuries of civilization.
But it felt great to be back in the wilderness, sitting by the campfire, and sleeping beneath the stars.
But of course, this was only the first half of our time in the Northeast.
We would sleep soundly tonight, drifting off peacefully beneath the moonlight.
But tomorrow, an entirely new adventure would begin.
Whose crazy idea was it to hike a mountain this way?
I kept having dreams that
So you had to wake up and pack.
Your dream is a reality, Andrew. Enjoy it while it lasts.
I'm sorry that I ever complained about the heat.
I regret every life decision I've ever made right now. So, for what little sleep you got, how did you guys sleep?
At the very least, at 38 degrees Fahrenheit, I'm extremely comfortable in my sleeping bag.
Yeah, I slept well, except my neck is sore, which is my own doing because of the airbed.
Okay, I'm starting to feel a little better about my life decisions. This is kind of fun, right?
Like some punk kid from a 80s coming to age movie or something.
Minus the hat, Thomas is looking very Michael Scofield today. He's got to escape over the mountain into safety.
You guys ready?
Yep. You guys enjoy your lobster.
When you're at the lake, look up and have just like shed a single tear for us.
Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, see ya.
See ya.
Bryan. Yep. Good luck. You need the good luck.
Thank you very much for watching, and thank you to our patrons at patreon.com/adventure. It's thanks to their support, viewers like you, that we're able to do these episodes.
Also, if you can't get enough of Adventure Archives, check out our merchandise in the link below. We have t-shirts and even more t-shirts. I'm not wearing one right now.
If you want another way to support us, you can visit our Teespring store where we have some classic designs like the Mushroom Hunter. But we also have some new designs, like the new Chinese black and white shirt. We brought back our festive design for the holidays. And we've also got the patch design with Established 2014.
We've also got this design in color if you want to check that out. Thank you again so much for watching the episode. Check out our Teespring store. Thank you for supporting us, and happy holidays. Hey, thank you so much for watching that episode. Be sure to check out part 2, where we continue our road trip through beautiful places in Maine and New Hampshire, like this. Also, be sure to check out our other episodes, where we go wilderness backpacking and travel to amazing places. Thanks again for watching, and thank you for your support.
Colonel Christina Alvarez, I've made it to the extraction point. I used GreatLakesWatercraft.com.
Good work, James Rokitsky.
Huh?
Your mission is to find William Garnett.
William Garnett?
Careful. Shadow Abraham is a dangerous place. You'll have to find your own weapons.
Roger that. OSP, huh? Moving out. Huh? Jesus Castillo. This isn't him. Jamie Bagwaga. Still not the right person. Huh? Who is it?
It's me, William Garnett.
Is that so? Huh? Decoy octopus. Get out of here.
I believe you're looking for me.
William Garnett?
Yes, but to some, I'm known as Evil McPhee.
I'll be taking that.
All right, we've got 3 couples we're cooking for. Bryan and Aussie Yamagata, Bryan and Katya Strom, and Lindsay and Kevin. But with the way Chef John Scott's kitchen is in, I don't think he's gonna do a good job at all. Now, let's go check in on the kitchen. Now, Chef John Scott, what in the world are you doing right here?
So I'm using the Elaine R. Anthony School of Cooking. I've got the gluten-free pancake and a banana.
Are you making banana pancakes by any chance? Are you cooking?
Yes, chef. Yes,
banana?
chef. I'm cooking the banana.
You donut! You're supposed to cut the banana and put it in the pancake mix. This is a raw banana. This is completely limp. Feel it. It's completely limp. Well, with the way the cooking's going, I'm gonna have to step in because we want to make sure Kevin has a really lovely birthday dinner for his wife Lindsay. But don't worry, I'm gonna step in and we're gonna make it happen, and I'll cook my famous beef Wellington on top of that. In any case, happy birthday, Lindsay. Your husband Kevin loves you very much.
Richard Frangiamore, I presume?
Gavin Ryan, I presume. I come from the Coil Project in Washington, D.C.
Quack, quack.
But how did you see me? My stand, Mary Sincavage, the Pink Good 80, makes it so you forget that you saw me as soon as you look away.
You're not the only one with a stand. My stand, John Truth Teller Truitt, sees all.
Hello, I'm Dan Volkins on the scene. I'm here with local Professor Douglas Jackson. Word is that local residents Leon and Lou Lin have already had their wallets stolen. Professor, would you say it's time to panic?
Yes, I would, Dan.
Very good. Oh, hello, sir. What's your name?
Sanwar 1, Wallet Inspector.
Okay, then, yeah. All right. I believe everything's in order.
I can't believe that worked. Yoink. Aaron Jones would like to shout out his beautiful and loving girlfriend, Emily. He loves you. Welcome back to Expedition Research LLC News Network. I'm Lin.
And I'm Rocco.
Today's top story, local Kung Fu master Charlie Joe has been assaulting people in a local park.
We're now going live with Jasper Caparata in the helicopter.
Now Jasper, can you tell us what's going on out there?
Well, this local Kung Fu master has been assaulting local residents, but they're sending in Akuya Giasari, another Kung Fu master, to take him out.
Oh, looks like she didn't quite have the moves to take him out. What are they gonna do now, Jasper?
Never fear, they're sending in another Kung Fu master, Anne McBride, to try and take him out again.
Oh, it looks like Anne McBride has got the upper hand on him, and it looks like she was able to take him down. And now to Sue and Ton with sports. Hello there, I'm Sue.
And I'm Ton.
Welcome to Sports. Today's top sports story, the speed walking Olympics has started. We go to Jason Bourgeois live on the scene.
Jason, what can you tell us about what's going on down there?
Well, right now, Jay Ramuno and Salvador Gonzalez are in the lead, vying for first place. It looks like Jay Ramuno's in the lead, and they're really contesting. Oh, but out of nowhere, Madeline Hawley seems to be gaining. Oh, and she's taken first place. She's won the first annual Speed Walking Olympics. All right, well, Madeline Hawley, congratulations.
Thank you.
Speed Walking Champion of 2021. How do you feel right now?
I feel fantastic. Woo! Woo, I'm loose.
Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to now that you've won the Speed Walking Olympics?
I'd like to give a shout out to Tommy, my life adventure buddy. Here's to you, Tommy.
I've got to put out the disclaimer though. Road tripping with one car and 4 guys
is going to be very different than road tripping with one person or just two people.
Oh, yeah.
Better or worse?
I would say it's worse. And here,